write off $200,000 in year one. Bonus depreciation, cost seg studies, and the STR loophole. Now let's put them all together. This is probably the most powerful point about bonus depreciation. More than $90,000 of taxes that you do. Hey, 100% bonus depreciation is back, and today I'm going to explain everything you need to know as an STR investor to save tens of thousands of dollars on your taxes in 2025 and 2026. I did something kind of crazy in preparation for this video. I read the entire bonus depreciation statute. For those of you following along at home, that's U.S. Code Title 26, Subtitle A, Chapter 1, Subchapter B, Part 6, Section 168K, and Treasury Regulation Section 1.469-1TE3II. Boring, yes, but also kind of exciting, because what I learned is that the real power of bonus depreciation comes in two ways. One, it's the actual amount of money you can save. It's huge. But also, number two, and maybe more importantly here, it's how those write-offs can be applied to your income. It's where this goes from a decent tax strategy to something that feels honestly pretty unfair. I recognize I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse here. Obviously, you need to find a place first, and in order to do that, you need to find the right market for Airbnb, be that here in Colorado or wherever in your state, but that's for another video. All right, so let's break this down. In this video, I will explain bonus depreciation, cost segregation studies, and the STR loophole, a step-by-step process of exactly what you need to do. It's not just the size of the write-off, it's how you use it. I'll run through some real numbers with an example. We'll talk about recapture rules, because did you expect this to be free money? All right, enough of that. Let's dive in. Normally, when you buy a property, the IRS allows you to write off the cost of the building, not the land, over 27.5 years. The thinking being that the building itself and its component parts will start to wear down and lose value or depreciate. That means each year you get a very small deduction spread out over 30 years, and long-term real estate investors have been doing this forever. But with a cost segregation study or cost seg study, a specialist or an engineer comes in and says, well, wait a minute, the component parts of this property are going to wear out a lot faster than 27 years. And the IRS allows you to write these off at a faster pace, at that 5, 7, or 15-year depreciation. And here's where the magic really begins. Bonus depreciation. Under current law, these component parts qualify for immediate write-off. So if you find $200,000 worth of 5, 7, or 15-year assets, you can write off $200,000 in year one. And this is why STR investors love this. It puts the entire tax benefit back in your pocket immediately so that you can reinvest sooner. But wait, doesn't bonus depreciation only apply to businesses, not rental properties? Yeah, let's get to that. Okay, so how does the STR loophole come into play? It's important to know that bonus depreciation only applies to active businesses, and long-term rentals, as defined by the IRS, are passive. While the law does not allow for traditional long-term rentals to qualify for 100% bonus depreciation, it carves out an exception for short-term rentals. So here's the criteria to qualify under the STR loophole. 1, the average guest stay must be 7 days or less, so traditional vacation rental, right? And 2, you must materially participate. These are the words of the IRS. You must materially participate in the property. And what does materially participate mean? Well, most investors meet this criteria one of two ways. 1, they work 500 hours on the property during the tax year. Or 2, they work 100 hours on the property and no one else works any more than you do. We've talked about bonus depreciation, cost seg studies, and the STR loophole. Now let's put them all together. I'm James Carlson. I am a Colorado real estate agent focused on short-term rental investors. I've helped more than 100 clients find Airbnb or STR properties in Denver, Colorado Springs, Breckenridge, and the mountains all across the state. Interested in an STR in Colorado? Email me at james@jamescarlsonre.com. You can also find that email in the description below. Okay, so here's the step-by-step process to qualify for the 100% bonus depreciation write-off. Number 1, buy a legal STR. You want to make sure that you work with an agent who understands STR laws. I encounter so many people here in Colorado, agents who I will call, and they will tell me that this property or that property is a great STR potential. And I know that the local rules do not allow for it. So you want to make sure that you're working with someone who understands where you can and cannot do it. Number 2, once you have the property, make sure that you've worked 100 hours on it and that no one else has worked any more. You do want to talk to a CPA to make sure that the type of work that you are doing qualifies under this rule. Number 3, list the property. It has to be operational during the tax year in which you want to take bonus depreciation. And then you need to make sure that the average guest stay is 7 days or less. Number 4, hire a specialist to do a cost seg study. Now, it does get a little bit pricey. I've seen anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, but you are likely to save way more than that in your taxes, so it's definitely worth it. And number 5, give your cost seg study to a CPA who understands bonus depreciation. And finally, number 6, and this is probably the most powerful point about bonus depreciation, especially for you high income earners, doctors, lawyers, software engineers, because here's the deal. Unlike long-term rental write-offs, bonus depreciation for STRs can be used to offset your W-2 income. By the way, if you're into STR investing, hit that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss my next video. Okay, so let's dive into why this write-off applying to your W-2 income is so comically powerful.
Think of income and loss as two different ledgers: passive income and loss and active income and loss. Normally, when you buy a long-term rental, all those write-offs like depreciation, repairs, interest are treated as passive, and passive losses can only offset passive income. So if your long-term rentals aren't throwing off big profits, then those deductions can only be used for next year. What passive losses definitely cannot do is offset active income.
But short-term rentals, completely different story.
Because the IRS doesn't count STRs as rental activities if the average stay is under 7 days. That means they're treated like a business. And if you materially participate, like we talked about before, your losses become active. And now those active losses can offset your active income.
That's your W-2, that's your contractor 1099, that's your small business income. Basically, all the income that you make as a living also can be offset by these short-term rental losses. And this is where high income earners can really see the benefit of an STR and bonus depreciation tax strategy. Exactly how much can you be saving? Well, let's talk some numbers. Let's say you make $300,000 base salary. You buy a $1 million short-term rental, say here in Colorado. You subtract out the land and you are left with the building and its component parts. A cost segregation study might show that $250,000 of these component parts, furnaces, hot water heaters, landscaping, decking, they all qualify for this bonus depreciation. That means your taxable income goes from $300,000 down to $50,000. Hey, once again, you should talk to a CPA about this. So what does that look like in terms of actual dollars saved in your pocket? That is more than $90,000 of taxes that you do not have to pay. Let's make this even simpler and give you some quick back-of-the-napkin math that you can use if you are shopping for an STR. Many cost seg studies will come back showing bonus depreciable assets in an amount roughly 25% of the cost of the house. Doesn't really have anything to do with the purchase price, but 20 to 30% is a decent rule of thumb. Before you start thinking that this is some kind of magic trick where you just make all taxes disappear forever, let's clear something up. Here's the reality. When you go to sell that property eventually, the IRS wants some of that back. This is called depreciation recapture. Here's why this is a pretty small catch if you ask me. You basically get to keep all this money in your pocket right now instead of it staying in the IRS's pocket for decades. This is basically an interest-free loan from the government. With that extra money, you can reinvest and you can start to see how quickly you can accelerate your STR portfolio. And remember, you can always use a 1031 exchange to defer recapture or just keep the property for a long time to roll forward those tax benefits. Hey, earlier in this video, I mentioned finding STR markets. If you are interested in my favorite, somewhat affordable Colorado markets for Airbnb, check out this next video. If you're interested in buying in Colorado, find my email in the description below. Thanks for watching.